Right, okay, so we're ready to start designing our board. The first thing we need to do is download our assets, okay? So I've made a new folder. I've made this in my downloads folder. I've called it assets. And I've got these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are all thematically linked to my theme, okay? So I've got a shark's tail, a wave, coral, dolphins, and a whale tail. I downloaded these from here, thenounproject.com. You can just search here. What's important is that you download the SVG file, okay? You might have to log in with your Google account, and then you can search, download your files, make sure you download the SVG, put them in one folder, okay? What we can do after that, we can move this over here. We can open up Inkscape. We can have a new document. We can go File, Document Properties. We need to change the size, okay? So I'm going to bring this down here. It needs to be 300 by 200, okay? 300 by 200, that's fine. Then we can close that. Okay, so we get something that shape. I'm going to go ahead and save this. I'll save this in my Documents folder, and I'll save this as David's panel. Okay, you're going to save it, but not with your name, of course, yeah? So David's panel. Right, what we can do, we can drag these on. Okay, so I'm going to select all 5 of them and drag them on. Okay, and they look like that. So I can click one and just separate it. Yeah. Now you'll notice that because we have the attribution, we have this text down here that we don't really want. So we can right click. Hang on. Let's try that again. Click. Come on. Right click. Where's my right click? Ungroup. And then we can delete those. The same here. Ungroup. And we can delete that. Ungroup. Delete that. Ungroup. Delete. And one more. Ungroup and delete. Okay, now what might happen, no, that one's okay. That's okay. Because we ungrouped them, this is also a different object. Okay, so what we need to do now, I want this to stay as one object, not one object here and one object here. Okay, so I need to regroup these. So I need to select everything, right click and group. Okay, and that's now one object again. Yeah, the same here. These are now 2 objects. Maybe I can keep them as 2 objects and have them in different places, or maybe I want to keep them as they were. So I'm going to select both of them and right click and group. Okay. All right, then we need to start designing our track. Now to do this, I'm going to keep saving my work as I go. I'm going to work with some rectangles. Right, let me change the color down here. Yeah. Okay, so I've got red so that I can see it. I've got my pointer tool here, my selector tool, and with that I can change the width. Yeah, so I want the width something like 15. Now, what we want to do, let me duplicate this. So Command C, I think. No, Command D. Yes, Command D, and then I can rotate it. And then I can put this down here. Now we don't want to put anything here because this is where our board is going to slide into the base. Okay, so this is kind of off limits. Yeah. So I'm going to have a kind of curvy thing, a curvy line. But I'm going to try and make it using kind of rectangles. Okay, so I've got one rectangle. With my selector tool, I can then go ahead and make that a bit longer. Shift D to duplicate. I can click again. I can rotate it. Okay, I can put this down here. Try and get this nice and tight. Yep. Oy. And then when you're happy with that, I can select both of them. Have to select all of them. Okay, but I don't want this at the moment. Or I can do this and then shift and click and then path and union. Okay, and that is now one object. Yeah. Now doing curvy lines is a bit trickier. So I'm going to do this over here. So let's have something like that. I can change the color. You might not have any curvy lines, but some of you might. So let's run through an example together. With my selector tool, I'm going to duplicate this. So Command D. I'm going to press Shift and I'm going to make it smaller. Let me change the color so that we can see. Okay, now let me press Shift again and make it bigger. Make it bigger this way. Okay, now I just want this half. So if I want to delete half, I need to draw something over it. And then 1, Shift, click 2, holding down Shift, click 3, and then path difference. Okay, no, that's not right. Let me try that again. Let me select everything. Path intersection. No, that's not right either. Let me think about this. Okay, so click 1, then click 2. So I want the difference of those. Okay, good, fine. So that gives me that. And then this, hold down Shift and click this. And then path, what do I want? I want the difference. Yes, path and difference. Yeah, then that gives me something like this. And what I can do once I've got that, then I can kind of rotate it. I can make it red again now. I can click again and I can make it a little bit smaller, something like that. Yeah. I can move this out of the way. If I want to duplicate this, I can just Shift D, duplicate that, put that up there. If I want, I can make it a bit shorter. Now that's not very good because it makes this line a bit smaller as well. Okay, so I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna make this again. With my selector tool. Okay, something like that. I'll take this, I'll Shift D this, and then I can grab this here and just flip it. Now I'm going to have the same problem that if I make that smaller, this aspect ratio is also going to get a bit smaller. So how am I going to do that? Let me fix that first. So I want it kind of curving up and around. What we don't want the line to go right to the edge. Otherwise, when we 3D print it, we'll have two different parts. We'll have a top part and a bottom part. Okay, so we don't want that. Right, okay, so I want this hooping back. So let's try and do that. I'll have something like this. Shift D in my selector tool. Hold down Shift. Make it smaller. Change the color so that I can see it. Hold down Shift. Okay, something like that. Then what did I do? I clicked on one. Held down Shift. Clicked on the other one. Path intersection. No, can never remember. Hold down one, Shift, click on the other one. Path difference. There we go. And then what? Then I want about this half. So I'll have a rectangle. I'll put the rectangle over here. My selector tool. 1, click 2, path difference. Yeah, there we go. Okay, something like that. Can make this a bit bigger. Okay, going off the page a little bit, that's not ideal. So something like that. Haven't done that particularly well. Okay, so let me undo that. Okay, so I want this one a bit thinner. Then let me make this one also a bit thinner. Click on 1, shift, click on 2, path, what was it? Intersection, no. Click on 1, shift, click on 2, path difference, Then let's have this over the top. Back to my selector tool, click on 1, click on 2, path difference, okay, good. Then this can go here, we can make it a little bit bigger. Something like that. Let's move this art out of the way. Okay, and then I'll have like a rectangle going along. Change that red. Back to my selection tool. The height was 15. I set the height as 15 here, so let's try and have the height as 15 again. Okay, that's fine. Let's move this along to make this a little bit bigger. And then we'll just have a straight line coming down. Something like that. Back to my selection tool. The width should be 15. Okay, we'll put that up there. Up there, something like that. And then we can play around with these. Yeah, we can make these bigger. I'll have this down here, but remember, don't touch this black bit because that's where it's going to slide into the base. We'll have that. I'll have that there. Oi, come on. Put that there. This I'll put up here somewhere. And then all of this, we need to make this one track. Okay, so I'm going to click on one, click shift, holding down shift, just clicking the different bits, and then path and union. Okay, and then that is now, wait, I missed a bit. Hold down shift, click on that, path and union. Okay, and that is now one object. Okay, that's good. Right, when we've done that, we need to, where is it? We need to go into here, fill and stroke. We're going to delete our fill. Okay, so I've got fill selected here, so we're going to delete our fill. Our stroke, we are going to have a stroke, and our stroke style is going to be 0.25. I think it's 0.25. Yep, 0.25, okay? So 0.25 millimeters for our stroke, and then these are going to be 1 millimeter. So our stroke, again, no fill. We are going to have a stroke, and our stroke style is going to be 1 millimeter. Okay, so there's no fill. We do have a stroke, and our stroke style is 1 millimeter. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that for all of these. So no fill, delete our fill, stroke, yes, stroke style, 1 millimeter. Okay, then because we don't want this to cut through, we just want it engraved. So here, no fill, okay, good, we don't have, stroke, yes, stroke style, 1. Here, make sure there's no fill, stroke, yes, stroke style, 1. And there's one more. So no fill, yes, we want a stroke. A stroke is the outline, and our stroke style is 1. Okay, very good. And like I say, for this one, we don't have a fill, we do have a stroke, and our stroke size is 0.025 because we want this to cut. Okay, so this is going to be cut out, and these are going to be burnt in. Okay, so there you go, something like that. When you've done that, save it and send it to me on Toddle.